Alright guys, we have reached the semifinals in Rio. Um, Alexander Zverev, the top seed in world number 2, just got knocked out by that Argentine guy, which is rather unspecific considering how many of them there are now. Francisco Comesaña. So last week in Buenos Aires, Argentina, he lost to Francisco Cerúndolo, the Argentine. Now he lost to an Argentine called Francisco Comesaña. So he's lost to an Argentine guy named Francisco C both times. This Comesaña, he defeated Rublev last year in round 1 of Wimbledon, so he is not completely unknown, but he is still relatively new to the main tour. And that was a bit surprising that he took out Zverev. It is not super surprising because, I would say he's not Sinner or Alcaraz, but Alcaraz just got knocked out at the Doha Open, so it's not. In these small events, basically anything can happen other than Sinner losing on hard courts, and even that technically is possible if he plays Alcaraz, and he lost to Rublev in the Masters 1000, which was like his one off day in the entire last year. Maybe his one off day on hard courts, I should say. There looked to be something a bit wrong with him. But Rublev was able to beat him it was Montreal, the Masters 1000, so that's even a bigger tournament than this. But anyway, enough of the tangents. It was still a bit surprising that Comesaña was able to beat Zverev, given that he had just played 2 3-hour matches in a row in his first and second round, so he was on court for like 6-7 hours already. But I guess these clay guys, they really don't run out of energy. At least if it's in best of 3 and it's not best of 5, so at least it was not like 4 or 5 hours. So I guess he can still have some energy. And it looked like it because he was still running around everywhere like Speedy Gonzalez, despite those 2 long matches. So these players really have unbelievable stamina. And amazingly, in that final set, which Comesaña won 6-4, he was down 4-1. So he won 5 games in a row to win that set 6-4 and take out the top seed in world number 2 Zverev. And that's some way to do it. Zverev, I guess he's a bit known for choking, but maybe not as much as at these small events, more choking in Grand Slams. So to lose a final set from 4-1 up is a little bit surprising in these best of 3. It's kind of like what Alcaraz just did in 2 back-to-back matches. Of course, he lost the final set 6-4 from 4-2 up against Lehechka in that quarterfinal match that was just yesterday. So Zverev did something very similar. He lost from 4-1 in the quarterfinals in the final set. And Alcaraz, why I said he did it in 2 matches, was his match against Luca Nardi before playing Lehechka. He was up 4-1 in that second set, and he just randomly lost it 6-4. But of course, he was able to close out that match 6-3, I believe, in the final set. But it's interesting how these guys are just letting their 4-1, 4-2 leads slip just out of nowhere and letting the guys come back. How that's happened like 3 times in the past 3 days is a bit interesting. But getting on to the semifinals. So we have in the first semifinal Sebastian Baez against the lucky loser Camilo Ugo Carabelli, or however you say his name. It's a double L, so Carabelli, I don't know. Ugo. This is an all-Argentine battle. Sebastian Baez, who is the defending champion, and bro had the easiest path back to the final, and he will be licking his lips at his chances to go back-to-back, winning this tournament. Actually, he really can do that. I mean, now he's basically the favorite. He's the only seeded player left in the draw. The expectation we got, well, we'll get to that later, but he's the 5th seed. He's the only seeded player left in the draw. His draw opened up, man. His draw opened the hell up. In the first round, he had a lucky loser, Roman Andres Burachaga, another Argentine guy. Like, literally half of this tournament is Argentines. Defeated him. Then he had another unseeded Argentine, Navone, defeated him. Then he had a qualifier, Seng, who has barely won any ATP main draw matches. I've barely seen this guy's name. That's who he just defeated in the quarterfinals. And now he has another lucky loser, another Argentine, Ugo. So his path has been lucky loser, unseeded player, qualifier, lucky loser, and then in the final it will be another unseeded player. So his draw really opened up, and he has great chances to go back-to-back winning this title. And now he will face, like I just said, the lucky loser, Argentine. His third Argentine of this tournament, so he's like Fonseca in Buenos Aires, who beat 4 Argentines on his way to the title. Baez can do that if he wins this match, and then Comesaña wins his semifinal match, and then Baez wins the final. He will have defeated 4 Argentines on the way to winning the title in Rio. And then an Argentine will win in Rio right after a Brazilian won in Buenos Aires. Interestingly. But anyway, he is facing Ugo in this semifinal, the lucky loser, who just played a lucky loser in his quarterfinal match against Jaime Faria, the guy who took a set off of Djokovic, which is no impressive feat nowadays. I know it was in the Australian Open, but Djokovic was basically trash in those first 2 rounds. He just treats him as a warm-up because he can beat those guys playing at 40% of his abilities. But anyway, Jaime Faria took a set from him. And that was an all-lucky loser quarterfinal because Faria took the place of Musetti, who withdrew, who was supposed to be the 2nd seed. He withdrew. I don't know why. I think he withdrew from the previous week as well, or something like that. So something's wrong with him. Ugo won that battle of the lucky losers in the quarterfinals, and now he will face the defending champion and 5th seed Baez in the semifinal. Do I believe that he will go one step further and reach his first final as a lucky loser? No, I don't believe so. I think Baez is the clear favorite here. They have played each other once, which was actually in Buenos Aires last year, the tournament it was just last week, and Baez won that in straight sets. And I think he is definitely the favorite here, but Ugo can maybe make it interesting. He seems to be a decent clay courter, so I will have Baez winning this in 3 sets. Why not? And he can make back-to-back finals at this event. And then in the second semifinal, we have Francisco Comesaña, who just defeated Zverev. So Zverev is probably going to start having a villain arc towards Argentines now. And he is playing the Frenchman Alexandre Muller, who spoiled the all-Argentine semifinal party because he just played Francisco Cerundolo, and of course another Argentine, who just beat Zverev last week in Buenos Aires. Had Cerundolo won that match, there would have been all Argentines in these semifinals in Rio. But Muller defeated him. He has been on a roll this tournament, won all his matches in straight sets, defeated the kid first round, defeated another Argentine, Echeverry, second round, and now defeated another Argentine, Cerundolo. He has knocked out the 8th seed Echeverry and the 4th seed Cerundolo back-to-back, both in straight sets, and also took out the kid in the first round in straight sets, and there was the kid's home crowd. So he has been on a roll this tournament, and is the only Frenchman left among 3 Argentines in the semifinal. So an Argentine winner is still not guaranteed, but an Argentine finalist is guaranteed from the bottom half of the draw, of course, because Baez and Ugo are playing each other. So we expected Zverev versus Cerundolo again, which would have been a rematch of last week in Buenos Aires when Cerundolo defeated him. But instead Zverev, he was like, nah, screw that, I'll just lose to this other Francisco guy from Argentina instead. And now we got Francisco Comesaña versus Alexandre Müller. And we could have gotten Francisco Comesaña, the Argentine, versus Francisco Cerundolo, the Argentine, which would have been kind of funny, but we got Müller instead. So Müller is, as I said, he's on a roll. He has never played Comesaña before, and Comesaña has just won 3 3-set matches in a row. Now, do I believe that he will win another match and get to his first ATP final? No. I think Müller has been playing probably the better tennis. I mean, he won all his matches in straight sets. Comesaña won all his matches in 3 sets. If there's any time for fatigue to play a role, it should be right now. I mean, I guess it should be in a best of 5, but you can't get, in best of 3, you can't get that much difference in maybe time spent on court. Well, technically, I don't know how long all the matches were, but it seems like Comesaña probably spent at least an hour or 2 more on court than Müller did. Then again, these clay guys shouldn't really run out of energy in best of 3, so that might not make that much of a difference, but Müller has just, he's looked pretty good. I mean, he just defeated Cerundolo 7-5, 6-1, and Cerundolo is a pretty solid clay court player, so I will have him winning this match in straight sets, and I believe the final will be against the defending champion Sebastian Baez and the Frenchman Alexandre Müller, who actually already won a title this year in the first tournament that he played this year, which was one of the first tournaments of the year, the Hong Kong Open, where he won the title after losing the first set in every match. And then he lost the first set against Nishikori in the final. And then people are like, oh, Nishikori is supposed to be really good at deciding sets, but Müller actually came through that quite comfortably in the end. It was like 6-1, 6-3 in the last 2 sets, so pretty good from him to defeat someone like Nishikori in a deciding set. And I believe he can reach the final here and spoil the Argentine party. So maybe we won't have an all-Argentine final. I predict it will be Baez versus Müller. And Baez will have a great chance to defend his title here in Rio with the luck of the draw that he had. It must be said. I mean, the guy played 2 lucky losers, a qualifier, and an unseeded player, and now he will face another unseeded player in the final, guaranteed, because both Comesaña and Müller are unseeded. So that's a pretty easy draw, it must be said. But let's see if he can do his job as the player ranked much higher than all of these other players and finish the job and defend his title. It is not guaranteed. But anyway, I will have Baez defeating Ugo Carabelli in 3 sets and Müller defeating Comesaña in straight sets, and believe we will have a final between Sebastian Baez and Alexandre Müller.